My son already ripped open the chocolate bar and he was eating it as he's sitting on the shopping cart. And he says, is chocolate your favorite food? And my son has a full mouth and kind of does this. And he looks back at the cashier and points at him. And the cashier is late 20s, dark-skinned black man. And he says, you're chocolate. Now, I could hear the entire supermarket go silent, and everyone is, I can feel people looking at me. Now what's interesting I think about this is that in the eyes of a 4.5-year-old, to be compared to chocolate is really the highest form of compliment, right? This is not something just that's okay to notice, this should be celebrated, right? But for me, even with somebody who's studied issues of diversity for more than a decade and should know how to correctly respond to this sort of situation, I could immediately felt heat, and I was thinking, should I be shushing him? Should I be taking him out? Should I tell him to apologize? And before I could do something stupid, the cashier kind of quickly swooped in and said something very clever. He goes, it's my little secret. And so imagine you're somebody in one of my studies, okay? And you're sitting in front of this group of photographs, okay? We're playing a game together. It's a process of elimination game. So process of elimination meaning I'm holding one of the photographs from this group, okay? And you're sitting in front of the ones. You don't know which one I'm taking. And the game is you can ask yes, no questions. So the answer has to be either yes or no to the question to figure out who I have, and you have to use as few questions as you possibly can. So what you'll notice from looking at this array is that the pictures are different in a number of ways, but one of the obvious things that pops out when you see this is that half the photos are of white people and half the photos are of black people. Okay? So what we initially did in this game was we had white people in the United States play this game with either a white or a black partner. And so what you see is that when people are interacting in sort of a more diverse context with a black partner, despite how obvious this looks, people work extremely hard to talk about anything except for skin color. So in other words, one of the best questions to ask in this game, if there's a gun to your head, right, you say, is the person black? Or it immediately is taking away half the photographs. But it much more typically sounds like this. And this is just to remind you what they look like. So a person will say something like, is it a woman? Is the background blue? So we see that they notice in colors. Do they have brown eyes? Do they have short hair? Are they wearing earrings? Bushy eyebrows. Bushy eyebrows is bushy eyebrows. Do they have dimples? Are teeth visible? And then it will usually end there, and so they figure out sort of which photo it is. In other words, you can almost feel the tension here. People are finding any little tiny thing in the pictures they can talk about, except for talking about skin color. One thing we learn is people are extremely unsure about how to behave in these scenarios. I'm talking about, in this context, this is US and white and black, but we've looked at this in a number of different scenarios, and you can think about what this diversity means in Israel. And even if in Israel people are more candid, we have data from Israel that shows that Israelis show similar concerns in formal organizational settings with bringing up these issues. So the point is, managers and organizations don't have it figured out either with respect to these issues.